bread flour.
Well, you know what, this is the part because that's my clean counter already. So, oh, actually, I wanted to, wait a minute, I'm gonna move my camera now. So let's see.
Just put it into the drawer.
I want to get more of like from this view, I think. Okay, so can you see this now? For those of you who are on and watching, I'm demonstrating how to braid challah. So once you roll your dough out and you have 4 strands like this, you're going to, the process is you go from left to right, and you're going to go over, under, over. So you go over your first strand, no, you go under.
No, over.
Over. Okay, you know what it is?
Over, under, over is the
Yeah.
sequence.
Okay. It's because my, you know, you pinch the top, okay, which I don't have. I have a rubber band, that's why it looks kind of funny. Okay, so we're gonna go over and then under the next strand. It's the same one from the left and over. So again, you start from the left and you go over the first strand, you go under the next strand and over the last one. So you just keep doing it. You go over, under, over, and then over, under, and over. And when you finish, this didn't turn out right because my
Saren, since your angle is different than Debbie's, can Debbie now show?
yeah.
Sure.
Debbie, go ahead.
Wait, I need a second.
Okay.
After she just swallows for what she just ate.
Okay, I had to finish my carrot. My healthy snack. Okay, always starting at the left.
Right.
Over, under,
Hey,
over.
stop. Can you make Debbie the speaker view now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So always starting on your left. It's the same sequence. Over, under, over. So you're
I'm
over.
sorry, Debbie, you're gonna have to repeat it in a minute because 3 people just joined us.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
but do it for
we're-
these people.
We're just doing this for those that are on. We'll do
Okay.
it again, you know, when we get to braiding. So over, under, over your last one.
Oh, I had an aha moment.
Then you start again. Over, under, over. And then I can do one more time. Over, under, over, and then you smash them together.
So you're keeping the 4 rolls vertical the whole time, correct?
Yes.
Debbie,
Okay.
hold it up now. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when you've braided your challah. This is a 4 braid, it's a simple 4 braid challah. I do a different method. That's why I had to double check with her because my method is more complicated and it looks different at the end. But it's all good.
But the taste is identical.
Yes.
Thank you, Debbie, for demonstrating. So
Oh,
Ruth,
sure.
it's hard to see when you're braiding. Can you come closer to the end of your island?
Well, the thing is, when I'm braiding the real dough.
Oh, no, but right now, while you're practicing. I muted you by accident. I'm sorry. Can you unmute yourself? While you're practicing, can you just bring it a little bit closer? If your towels are clean, then your counter will stay clean.
Okay, let me just, I want to just see, is this a better view? Let's see what,
Yes.
maybe from here, like
Okay,
behind.
so let's try with the the cloth.
Okay. So
Yes, that's much easier to see.
is that,
Yep. So if you could demonstrate doing the cloth right now, I think that's helpful for us visual learners.
okay, so one more opportunity, and I'll repeat this again when everybody else comes on, but you start from the left, as Debbie said, you're always going from the left. You have your 4 strands, you're gonna smush it together at the end so it's all clumped together, and then you're gonna have your 4 strands starting from the left, over the first one, under, and over, under, over, always. So then you take your second, again from the left, you're gonna go over and under and over. Again from the left, over, under, over. One more time, over from the left, under, over. And then at the end, you kind of just fudge it and you'll squeeze. We'll pinch it and we tuck the ends under, so you're not going to see any of that part, but you'll see this. Okay?
Looks delicious.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So,
you can get started.
okay, so everybody take your beautiful challah and bring it over to your counter that you're going to create your challahs on. And now we're going to take the wrap off, take your cover off, whatever you have. You can save that cover and use it again. Set that aside and watch this. You're all going to take a fist. And when I say punch down, I literally mean punch down. So you're just going to go, boom, give it a little punch. And it's done. And now what you're going to do.
Why are you punching your toe?
You know, that's a good question. I think because you don't want to have air bubbles in your dough. So you punch it down and you're getting that extra air out. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take your hand and just pull the dough. This is what I do. I pull it like around and I just bring it all in. So I have a nice little blob and I'm going to dump that on my counter. Does everyone have that on their counters now? And it may be a little sticky. Mine is a little, I'm gonna add a little flour. So I'm gonna, at this point, pour a little bit of flour on your counter and just, if you need to, if your dough is dry, you don't need to, but if your dough is a little bit moist, I could just put a little dough on my hands, not much, and that way it makes it easier to handle. And what I want you to do is take your knife and cut your dough down the center. So you're cutting it into 2 pretty even pieces. Obviously, this is not science here. No one is going to measure the weight. So what I do is I kind of grab my ball of dough. Do you see this? I kind of put it around like this in my hands. And that forms a nice ball of dough that I can hold in my hand. And then I'm going to take the other blob of dough, do the same thing, just kind of pick it up, bring it around so you have 2 balls of dough. And then you can feel them side by side, put them side by side, and you can kind of get a sense. This one on my left feels bigger. I'm going to just slice off a piece. And I'm going to add that to the blob that feels smaller. Again, it's not a perfect science, so you know, the challahs are not going to be the exact same size, but you want to start with them pretty even if you can. So once you've done that, then you're going to, you know, if you notice the way I'm picking up the dough, don't press down because you don't want it to, you know, go into your counter. You want it to be just nice and light. So just a gentle pick it up, and you're going to take one ball and put it back in your greased bowl. And you're going to take your plastic wrap. I usually flip it over because, as I said, there's condensation on the inner surface. So I just flip that over, I put that back and seal it nicely. And we're gonna set that aside. I'm gonna put that in my warm spot again because it can continue to rise. And now you have one glob of dough in front of you. At this point, I'm gonna ask you to take one of your cloths and cover it up, just lightly like that. And now we're gonna need to break up into groups. So if you are, whether you're making 2 large challahs or 4 small challahs or a couple of small ones in rolls, we're all going to be braiding the ones that are going to be challahs, we're going to be braiding. So to do this, we're going to break up into 2 groups. Half of you are going to go with Debbie and half are going to come with me. And we're going to show you how to roll the dough out and how to braid it. If you're making 2 challahs, you already have your 2 portions, okay? If you're making 4 challahs, when you're with Debbie or with me, we're gonna tell you to do the same thing, cut your dough in half. So you're gonna have 2 blobs from your one and take your other piece and cut it in half, so now you have 4 equal parts, okay? And you're gonna put them 1, 2, 3, 4 under your cloth or under a couple of cloths.
30 seconds to give me my envelope.
Is everyone following so far? Okay. If you're a person who's going to make 2 challahs and 9 rolls, it doesn't matter. We're going to start with making the challahs. And when we finish, we're going to be left with 1 portion that you're going to make your 9 rolls out of. Okay, and I'll explain that. Actually, whoever's going to be making the rolls should be in my group. Okay.
If there are 2 groups, then I can just keep everybody in the main room. And then whoever wants to go with the other group, well, I'll just move them.
Okay, you can do
Okay.
that. Okay. All right.
So option number 1 is if you are making 2 challahs, right? You're going to be
Actually,
with Debbie's sub.
Hold on. This part, if we're all making challah, we can all stay together at this point.
Right, that's what Jody was saying.
Yeah.
So let's just stay together for this.
Okay. All
Should
right.
we cut it in half if we're doing 4? If we're doing the 4, should we cut it in half now or wait?
Okay. I want to have you. If you're doing the 4, cut it in 4 equal pieces now. Okay.
And then cover it.
And then cover. Make sure it's covered.
The half,
But
the
if we're
half,
making,
putting the
if we're
half
making,
into it?
If you are making 2 challahs, for right now, just leave your 2 blobs covered. If you are making 4 challahs, I want you to take 1 blob of dough and see what I'm doing here again. I'm just kind of taking down 2 round, 2 blobs of dough, and you want to even them up as best you can.
I'm a little confused. What if we're making the rolls? We're making 2 challahs and rolls, or we're making 1 challah and rolls?
Okay, if you are, all right, I'm going to say it one more time here. I'm going to explain. If you're making 2 large challahs, you have your dough divided already. Don't do anything yet. If you're making 4 challahs, I want you to take your 2 blobs of dough, take 1 at a time, cut it in half, even them out so you have 2. Then take your second blob of dough and cut that in half and even those up. So then you have 4 in a row. And do keep them nicely covered, because if they don't stay covered, they will dry out, and we don't want them to dry out.
And then what if we're making the rolls?
Okay, I'm coming to that.
Okay,
If you're making the rolls, I want you for now to keep your 1 blob of dough aside.
okay,
And then I want you to take your second half, cut that in half, and put 2 blobs of dough nearby, okay?
So we're gonna have 2 blobs of dough regardless at this point. Yeah, okay,
If you're making rolls and
Yeah.
2 challahs, you should have 3 blobs.
gotcha.
1/2 in the bowl covered, and you have the other half you've divided into 2 portions.
I have this wonderful thing, I don't know whether anyone else has it, but it measures what you're doing.
I don't have that, but that's fabulous, because then you have the exact.
Right.
They're all even. Okay, so is everybody all set up now with their portions, except the rolls? That's just one big blob for now. Yes? Okay, we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna give you a quick demonstration of how we're gonna do the braiding. We're gonna do 4 braids today. Debbie Sutcliffe has a very easy way of doing a 4 braided challah, and I think no one's gonna have any difficulty with it today. So we're gonna use her method. I myself do 4 braids. It's a more complicated but it has a different look to it when it's finished. So they're both beautiful and they both taste the same, but because this is more of a beginner's class today, we're going to demonstrate the easier way to make the challah. So, and this is Debbie's idea. Thank you, Debbie Supplewit. We took 4 kitchen towels just to demonstrate. So the idea is you're always going from left to right the entire time. When you braid, you're going to start from the left. You're going to go over, under, over. So it's always over, under, over, okay? So now I'm going to start again from the left. I'm going over the first strand, under the second strand, and over the third strand. Okay? One more time. Over, under, over. And again, from the left, over the first strand, under the second, and over the third strand. When you finish, you're going to pinch, we pinch the ends and we tuck them under. We'll show you how to do that, but essentially this is how your challah will look today, except it will be out of challah dough, of course. Okay, so it's a very pretty looking challah. And the people who are in my group, if there's, what I would say, if there's an advanced baker today who bakes bread, bakes challah, and you want to learn a more complicated way, I'm happy to show you how to do that. And you can be in my group. Okay, so let's get started. I just want to clean this up one more time.
Do you want me to, would it be helpful for everybody to go into a group and you have a master baker to help you with the braiding? Help with problem solving?
That's up to you, Jody.
Yeah, I mean,
I can make breakout groups if anybody wants to be in a smaller room so that they're, you know, they're.
You know what? For the first one, let's do it all together. And then the second one, we're going to go to breakout rooms.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. So I am going to, because I'm going to be doing the rolls, I'm going to have to make 2 smaller challahs. So, you know, if you know what, Debbie, maybe you go ahead and show this braiding because you're going to make big ones, right?
Okay, yeah. All right. Jody, can you spotlight me?
Yes, 1 second.
So it doesn't matter if we're making big or smaller ones now, it's the braiding's the same, obviously.
The
Right.
braiding is absolutely the same. So you take one of your 4 blobs, put it on your counter. If it's sticking, you might need to add a little flour. And then I start in the middle.
Wait, Debbie, Debbie, you have to cut it into 4 pieces.
Oh, I forgot that part. Cut it into 4 pieces. Are we ready to, does everybody have their 4 pieces?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I kind of give it a little smush to start it making it look like a hot dog. And then starting in the middle and going out, start rolling. And then roll up and down and bring your hands back to the center. Until your piece, you want your piece, what do you think? About 12 inches, Ruth?
Yeah, I would say for the
For the
big
smaller or bigger challah?
challah, you're gonna have about 12 inches. And if it's a small challah, it's gonna be about 6 inches. And I just wanna add something here. A friend of mine suggested this yesterday. I thought it was a good idea. You know, I'm letting this sit for a second, so I'm going to cover it up while I'm talking because we don't want it to dry out. I just want to point out, it's like when you were kids and you used Play-Doh and you roll out a snake. You don't want to go heavy on your hands because then it'll flatten out. You want to just roll very gently back and forth. As you're rolling, it's going to expand. Okay, go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, so you do that. Here's my roll. It's about, it might be a little more than 12 inches. I set it off to the side. And then you do.
Debbie, do you cover that after you make it into a snake?
You could, I don't, because I do it fast. I think for today we should. I mean, I can have this braided in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, so then you do the same thing with each of your 4 doughs, blobs.
How many inches for the smaller challahs, did you say, Ruth?
It looks to me like about 6, 7.
Okay.
I'm going to hold it up. I don't know if that'll help, but.
While you're rolling, you might see an air bubble pop up, pop it. Like I have one here, I'm just gonna pop it and then go on rolling.
And it's good if you put like both of your hands towards the center and roll outward. You start in the center and roll so your hands slide apart. Before we braid, is there anybody in the class today who is going to do the more complicated braid? Just, Jody, if you could look and tell me if anyone is going to do the more complicated. It has to be someone who's really very comfortable with.
If you're doing a more complicated braid, please raise your hand. No, I think everyone's going with the easy one, Ruth.
Okay.
I'd love another class though with the complicated.
Well, we'll have a part 2. How's that?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't answer that.
I'm gonna try something different.
So my recommendation is that we have people, if people are comfortable, that they just start braiding, and then when they hit that hiccup, then we'll put one of you into a breakout room.
Okay, but for now, Debbie, why don't you show everyone how they're gonna braid?
Yeah.
Okay, wait 1 second, I'm
Because
almost there.
what I'm gonna do is while you're doing that, I'm gonna just do my regular one. And I'll show it to people at the end, what it looks like.
Okay, so you line your 4 strands up. And squish the top together, pinch it all together.
Can you just wait a minute, because I'm not, I need a little more time to roll it out.
Okay,
I do too.
okay.
Thank you.
So if you've rolled out your stakes of dough, I suggest covering it like Debbie did.
I just want to ask a question. My dough is not rolling out smooth. It looks like there are some separations where it's almost folded. So how to,
Ruth, do you have any ideas? It might be too dry.
Say that again, you're having difficulty.
when I'm rolling it, it's sort of like folding. It's not real smooth. It has some separation.
I wonder if you're pressing too hard when you're rolling.
Maybe.
And I have one spot like that and it's a little dry.
Did you say it's over, under, over?
Start at your left.
Over.
Take the left strand. Can we start now and I'll demonstrate? With the towels, I can do it backwards. With this, I can't.
Are you doing it very tight when you're going over and under?
Yeah, you want it pretty tight.
Oh, okay.
So you go over, under, and then over that last strand. And then you start all over again on the left, over, under, over.
Under.
Is everyone seeing that okay?
How do you keep the very beginning part from opening up? You just pinch it?
Pinch it.
Okay.
Would you do that one more time? Because I'm,
Here we go. I'm going to do again. Okay, so take the left strand over the next one, under the next one, and over the last.
okay.
You're basically weaving it. That's the way I figured it out.
And just keep the mantra in your head, over, under, over. So as you're doing it, say over, under, over, and that's how you're going to be moving the strands of dough.
And then the last ones, you have to just judge if you can do another over, under, or just pinch it together.
No, put it under here.
Oh, under.
Pinch it together underneath?
Yeah, pinch it and then kind of just tuck it under. And then I just mold mine a little so it's the shape I want.
Under it?
I'm gonna hold my iPad up so you can see it.
Wow,
How's
yours is much evener than mine.
Well, I've been doing it for a gazillion years.
And then do we cover it?
Now,
At this point, you want to put very gently, pick it up and put it on your baking sheet
and I want to make a suggestion.
and then cover.
When you are picking up your challah, okay, she does it to the side. I put my fingers like underneath, like I'm tickling it. And with one hand, I kind of lift it into the other hand and keep tickling it until I have the whole thing up.
And then cover it?
And then cover it.
Then, now, make sure you put it on, if you're doing a large challah, I want you to put it on a diagonal on your pan. Because you
But
really,
I don't do that, Ruth. I lie next to each other.
you just put it, you put both of them on one pan?
Yeah, here, I'm gonna show you.
You have a big pan, that's an oversized pan.
No, it's I can measure it, but that's how I do it.
Okay,
The regular cookie sheet size.
Once we cover it, what do we do?
yeah, wait 1 second, I'm just curious.
It's about 15 and a half by 14.
Okay, so that's.
It's a half, it's a half sheet.
The reason, well, I'm just gonna check mine is, well. Oh yeah, mine is 15. Okay,
And I just put it next, I'll put the next one right here, and that gives it plenty of rise room.
And
okay,
how long does this have to rise for?
Keep the-
Another 45 minutes?
yes. But I just wanna make a comment, because we're not seeing all of your pans, if you have two, if you're only making 2 challahs, you have 2 racks in your oven, you can either put them 2 on one pan like that, or you could put 1 on each pan. Just don't want them to touch, because you don't want them to bake into each other.
Yes.
So once you have your challah covered, if you're putting a second challah on the same pan, just leave your cloth on half the pan. So when you come over, you're gonna have a space for your second challah. How is everyone doing?
Right.
Great.
Raise your hand if you don't have the first one done. Jody, is there anyone who doesn't have the first one done?
I don't.
Gila
I'm
does
still
not.
going.
I think Gila needs a few extra minutes.
Is there a certain diameter you want those four things to be, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters.
Doesn't matter.
It depends how long you want your challah.
Right.
Got it.
Roll them out. The longer you roll your snakes, the longer and skinnier your challah will be. If they're shorter strands, then they should be it should be a wider challah and a little bit shorter.
Can you
Got it.
stretch the dough as you're rolling it, as you're braiding it?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Answer 1 and answer 2.
That was,
Wait.
yeah, that was 2 answers. That was a good question.
Hang on. I split the difference with Debbie, okay? You do want to pull it so it's nice and tight, but you don't want to stretch it, okay? You don't want to be pulling it so that you're stretching it.
Okay.
You just want to place it over, but make sure it's good and tight.
Okay. So one of mine is fatter than the other.
Okay.
It's okay, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
They're
matter.
both gonna bake at the same time though, right?
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry, I have
Everyone
a
has
job.
the first one done.
What?
Does everyone have the first challah braided?
Yeah.
So let's take our second block of
Okay.
dough. And this, again, if you're making a big one or a small one, it doesn't matter. Because now I'm gonna take that blob of dough and cut it in 4 equal portions. So I cut it in half, and then I take each ball and cut, it's getting a little sticky here. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on my hands and just get a very little bit, that's all it needs.
I'm sorry, did you cut the second blob already?
Yes,
Okay,
what I'm doing right now. I'm saying that if you are making a small one or you're making a large one, it doesn't matter, you've already cut your dough. So don't take the big ball that's in the bowl. If you're
okay, not yet, okay.
if you're making rolls, you have 1 whole half of the dough and that should stay in your bowl.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed it because I had to go to the door. So I apologize.
Let
Yeah,
me do it one more time.
thank you.
if you are making another large challah, you're going to take your second blob of dough, and that will be probably in your bowl. If
Right.
you are making another small challah, you want to take a little blob that you have on your counter and leave the big other half of your dough in the bowl. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I already made the 2 small ones. Okay.
Okay, so if you made your 2 small ones and you're making rolls, then hang out. If you're making 4 small ones, then you can take your, I don't want to confuse people now. Let's wait till everyone gets to this point.
Okay.
Get 2 done, right? Get 2 done.
Get 2 done.
Okay.
I'm still evening out my little blobs here. Okay. All right. Once you have your, this is for your second challah. You're going to roll your dough. I start kind of in the center of the blob and I just go back and forth, and then it kind of comes out on the sides. I just roll it, keep rolling. I start in the center. Take the second one. I start with one hand and then I just kind of add the second.
So this is for a second large one.
Well, I'm doing a small one myself.
Oh, okay.
So I need
Okay.
to have dough to do the rolls.
Boy, answering the door threw me off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We haven't had more phones and doorbells in all this time. Oh, I want to make a comment here. If you roll out your strand, and I do this frequently, and then I go back and I say, you know, I want to make it a little bit longer. The second time you roll it, it's going to roll real easily. It has like a time to rest. And so I did it first, like a first pass, and I decided I want to make them a little bit longer. So we can go over it a second time. It's not a problem. Even a third time if it's not even. You know, you have to try to get them as even as you can, because otherwise, if you have a long strand and a short strand, you're not going to be able to braid them very well. Okay, is everyone ready to do the braiding together?
Yeah.
Okay, fire away, Debbie.
Okay. I'm just smashing my corners together, or my ends together.
Is this the second ball or the one in the big, in the glass bowl, the extra one?
This is the second.
Okay.
Okay.
We're doing 2. So again, over, under, over.
I just can't do this.
Yes, Ken.
What I notice is when I do it, the beginning part is much fatter, like it doesn't sit as down as well, the braids, and then at the other end part, it's sitting down.
You can kind of push, I'll show you at the end how to reshape it.
Okay.
Okay, over, under, over. I have a big air bubble, hold on. And then again, over, under, over. Over, under, over. Over, under, over. And my strands are a little off, so I just will fudge it. And then you just pinch it together, tuck it in. Now I'm going to turn this so that you can see how I reshape it. Is everybody ready for reshaping?
Yeah.
No.
Take
No.
your ends and smash it inward, and then you can do it on the sides. And that gives it a nicer finish.
And I do something similar. I don't know, am I on, Jody? Okay, so, what I do, I do what Debbie does, I pinch it and I just kind of tuck under the corner, the ends, so that you don't have anything kind of hanging. It kind of looks rounded. And then what I do is I take my fingers and just kind of like gently tickle under the challah, put it on the one hand, tickle it a little bit, and so it lifts up. Then I'm going to put it on my pan. I'm going to bring the pan over. When I do the pan, this is when I shape it. I put it down on the pan, and I just kind of, with my hands, just gently, I just kind of tuck the sides there, and just make sure it's the shape you want. You see that? So it's just.
By the way, it's a beautiful dough. Making the braids, it's a beautiful dough.
Yeah.
Okay, here's mine on the pans. One's a little smaller than the other. But that's okay.
They will both taste delicious.
Too. Only my second one is quite skinny. I clearly did not cut these evenly.
That happens.
It happens.
Not a problem.
And one thing I want to point out, that Debbie already pointed out, but it's just a reminder, if you see a little air bubble, just pinch it to get the air out and, just gently pat it so it kind of stays.
Maybe a little bit, maybe this a little longer.
Is the reason for that to prevent burning?
Yeah, and you don't want it to dry out.
Okay.
Okay. And I wanted to show you the difference here. If you could highlight me, Jody.
A timer for 45 minutes.
You're highlighted.
Oh, okay. So, see the difference here? I have two different styles of challah.
Yes, yes.
This is the one that you just made, although yours might look different. And then this is the second way to make it. You see it just has a different look to it.
Is that still 4 braids?
It's 4 braids.
Just
Pinch it.
wait.
So what did you do differently?
I'll let you talk about that another time.
Let me.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you now because the braid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Make sure you cover it nicely, and we're going to set this aside.
Ruth, can I ask a question? It's Sue Rollinger. So I've got 2 different sizes,
That's right.
okay?
Yes.
Will they cook for the same amount of time? Like they're significantly different. I don't know if you can tell.
I have mine are 2 different. I'll cook them the same time.
I know at the same time, but for the same length.
You know what? We're going to show you how to test them. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll go over that when we get to the baking.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm putting my tray over here. You can't see it anymore, but it's over there where I have my nice warm spot. If you have a warm spot, put it. If not, just put it aside. Okay. Now the people who made 2 challahs, you're done. You're going to be ready to do the egg wash, which is the next stage, in 45 minutes. So it's now 1:10. Let's say about 10 to 2. I think 40 minutes should do it because it's been sitting a little bit. So let's say 10 to 2. Those of you who made 2 challahs, you're welcome to sign off, but please be back on at 10 to 2. And when you come back on, I want you to have ready an empty bowl, a little bowl. I want you to have an egg, a fork, beat your egg, and your pastry brush.
You want an egg at room temperature, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter, but you know, so you don't forget to take it out now.
Okay.
What we'll do is we'll make the egg wash, and we'll show you how to apply the egg wash. Okay? So you're all set. Clean your counter, and we'll see you back at 10 to 2.
Ruth, should we turn on our ovens to 350 now?
Yes, yes, turn your oven on now, that's a good thing. And also adjust your racks the way you want them in your oven. You know, if you had been cooking before and you had two close together, before you heat up your oven, this is a good time to move the
Hey, Ruth, did I put the two smaller ones that we made into proof in the oven?
do you do that now, or do you just leave it on the counter?
That's my question.
I put it back in the oven to proof.
Okay,
I take it out a little early so I can
Right.
heat my oven up.
got it, okay.
Okay, that's a good point. Make sure you leave, you know, how long your oven takes to.
Yeah.
Okay, if you we're making 4 small challahs today, you should be done as well. So if you have 4 small challahs, 2 on one pan and 2 on the other, they're covered, and you can either put it in your oven to proof on a proof setting only, or you could put it on with the oven light on, or put it aside, okay? So when we come back, all of you, you're done, and you can come back at 10 with your egg, your bowl, your fork, and your pastry brush. If you are in the group that's going to make 9 rolls now, you should still have half of your dough left.
Can you make a few rolls in one small challah or no?
Wait, say again, make what?
Could you, with this remaining one that we covered, could you make just a couple of rolls and then a small challah?
Sure. You
Okay.
could cut it in half, and you could
Okay.
say 1 challah and probably 5 rolls or so.
Okay, thank you.
4 rolls, four like nice size rolls.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're in that group, and if you've already finished and you want to see how the rolls are made, you're welcome to stay on as well. Okay, so now we're going to take that cover off, and we're going to take, you know, just gently take your dough out of the bowl. And now we're going to cut your blob of challah in 3 parts. Okay, so three parts, just thirds. My dough's getting a little sticky. So I've got 1. If it sticks to the counter and you have a little dough on the counter, just, you can pick it up with your fingers. Or you could put a little bit of flour on the counter, but you shouldn't need much. I just like touch my hand in it and slide it over the counter because my dough got a little sticky. Okay, this is not even, so I'm going to even it up. So you have 3 blobs of dough. Okay, now we're going to take each of these blobs and we're going to cut them into thirds as well. All right, so I've got 1 ball of dough here, and I'm going to cut it into thirds. I kind of turn them around in my hands, as you can see. It just helps me get more of an even blob, and I can get a good sense of where I need to cut off to even it. But this is not, again, this is not exact science, so we're not going for perfection on amounts. So if you have your 3 balls out of your first third of the dough, you can see I'm putting it on the counter here, and I'm going to cover it up with cloth. Now I'm going to take the second blob of dough, and we're going to cut that into thirds as well. And if you decide you're going to make, I'm sorry, if you're making another challah at this point, I forgot to work with you. Who's the person who's going to make a challah here?
I did. The first time when you said cut it in thirds, I cut it in a half, and then I took the other half and cut it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I just kind of made it up as I went along.
So you wanted to cut it in half, and then one half is going to be 4 pieces, because that's going to be your 4 strands.
Right.
Other half just divided equally to the number of rolls you want to make.
Okay, got it.
Okay, thank you. You're on top of it. Okay, so you're going to put your other 3 balls under here. Keep it nice and covered. And then you're going to take your last blob of dough and cut that into thirds as well.
They should be equal thirds?
You know, as even as you can make them, but you know, mine are not going to be totally even. It really doesn't matter. You'll have one roll that's a little smaller, one that's a little bigger. Okay, I think I might need another napkin here. I just don't want them to dry out because we're taking a little extra time here than we usually would. I want you to leave one blob of dough out, okay? And you're going to roll it. So I just take the blob, I put my hand, like my palm, and I pull it towards me back and forth, and it already starts to stretch. Then I can take 2 hands and roll it, and just roll it about, I would say about maybe 6-8 inches. I'm going to make it kind of skinny because then you get more of a spiral. Okay, it's a pretty long piece. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's longer than 6 inches. I've got my ruler here. I'll just check. It's about 12.5 inches, actually. Okay, does everybody have their first strand rolled out?
We should have 9 balls, is that what you're saying?
9 balls, yes. And you're going to grab your first one, and you're going to roll it to about 1 foot long. Does everybody have their first strand ready to go?
Yep.
It will. I will.
What I'm going to ask you to do is cover that strand for those of you who have it. Just cover it up because we don't want it to dry out. And when whoever doesn't have theirs rolled out yet, I want you to just let us know when you're done. Okay, so then we can continue.
And you said 12 inches?
About 12 inches, yes.
Can they go in the second one?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So everybody's ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, uncover that strand. Now, you're going to start at one end, it doesn't matter which end, and you're going to turn it in, like on itself, like you want to curl it up. Can you see that? I'm going to see if I can hold it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to curl that in a little bit. Then, at that point, I pick up the long end, and I'm just going to go right around on the counter. So you get a nice spiral, and when you get to the end, you want to tuck it underneath. You don't want a tail sticking out. You want to put it underneath the roll. Okay?
Okay.
And you don't want to build upwards. You want to just do it on the counter. And do you see how pretty that is?
Yeah.
It's going to be a little spiral roll. And you're going to put that on your paint and cover it up. I want to get a clean cloth.
We could put cinnamon and sugar in these.
You could. And
I put chocolate chips in mine.
And I want to tell you, I make, this will be for our challah baking part 2. I
Yeah.
cinnamon, sugar, and raisins.
Oh, yeah.
Vodka challah, but that's another technique, so I want to show you that.
Could you put cinnamon on the counter while you're rolling so the cinnamon just gets on it?
I want to tell you, it doesn't really work. It has to be
Okay.
inside.
Got
Because
it.
what happens is when it's on the top, it gets a little bit, I don't know, whenever I put cinnamon and sugar, it kind of gets a little shiny. It doesn't really bake in.
Right.
So now you're going to take your next blob and we're going to roll that out the same way. And they don't have to be the exact size. You know, you might have one that's a little shorter, so it's not as spiraled. Might have one longer, the spiral might be, you know, more pronounced. So
Well, these are cute.
yeah, they're very cute. And so I've got mine rolled out. I'm going to show you again. I take one end and I'm going to curl it the other way. It doesn't really matter. You know, I curled it that way this time. And then I'm just going to pick up the piece and go all the way around, flat on the counter. And then I'm going to pick it up gently, tuck underneath, and you've got another swirly. And then when you put them on the pan, you want to put them, you know, a few inches apart so that they don't run into each other. So we're going to do another one of these. Take another blob, just roll it out.
Now, these are gonna have to take long, they're not gonna be ready to bake at the same time our challahs are.
That's right. So you put in the other one first. Okay, so we're gonna tuck it in, pick up and roll around on the counter, spiral it around, tuck the tail under, and here's another view again. There's another one, and you're gonna put that like a row, you know, you're gonna have a row of your rolls. Okay? I'm gonna show you the next style. There's another style we're gonna do. We're gonna take a blob of dough and we're gonna cut it in half. So now we've got two pieces. All right? And you're gonna roll both pieces out the same way, like you're making a little snake. Oops. All right, I've got one, and it's not going to be perfect. It really doesn't matter because it's going to bake together. You're going to make your second snake, and these are shorter because now you have half the dough.
Yeah.
Right? So this is one, and I went back to my first one just to even it out a little bit. Now, when you have them, does everybody have their two strands?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to pinch them together at one end. Okay, so they're stuck together now. And then you're going to lift up one strand over the other one and put it down. And you're just basically doing a twist. You're going to pick up and go over that. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Over, over,
Mm-hmm.
over. You're like kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now, when you get to the very end, again, you're going to pinch it together. Okay, and if you have a skinnier end, like at the end, I keep that for the tail to tuck under. So I'm going to start with the fatter end, and I'm going to do the same process. You're going to tuck it in on the counter. And then you're going to lift up the tail, and you're going to spiral around again. And then
Very cute.
when you pick it up, you're going to tuck your tail underneath, and look what you have.
It's cute.
Like a little bumpy challah roll. Okay, it's little bumps. So we're going to put that on the pan. Again, space them out so they don't run into each other. And take another blob. Let's do that again. We're going to cut it in half. And we're going to roll one piece. And then the piece. quick.
You're a very good teacher. I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm
And
so.
I think to honor you, Ruth, we should all come for Shabbos dinner at your house
That's right. That's right.
tonight.
So, I want to tell you, I do share my challahs, but I'm not going to share it with you because I want you to make them. So, but if you have a Shabbat and you can't make it, I'll give you one of mine. How's that? Okay, so if you have your 2 strands again side by side, you know, actually, I'm going to do it this way. I don't know why I'm doing it side, or maybe it was better. Is it better this way or the other way?
No, it's good.
Okay, so we're going to pinch the top again and just leave that, and we're going to twist again. If it pops up, just turn it back over and kind of squish it down a little bit. And you see it kind of rolls, but it's okay because the idea is just to get it twisted. So just keep twisting and we get to the end. Hold on to that. And you're gonna, sometimes you have to think in your head, which way do I want to twist it? You know what I mean? Because it starts to untwist. So just give it a little twist and put it in, pick up your tail and come all the way around on the counter and tuck it under. And you should have another pretty roll.
Yeah.
Put that on your tray. And cut it up. At the end, I'm hoping you all stay to the end so we can see each other's beautiful challahs and rolls. I'm going to make another double strand. I think those are prettier, but you know, if you're having company, it's really pretty when you do both designs and you put them
Yeah.
even though it's the same dough.
I don't remember what company is.
Right.
Company Zoom.
Yeah.
We're doing everything on Zoom these days, right?
Yeah.
No, this is not.
Just all get vaccinated, then we can all be together.
Right. And you know, if you end up with, you know, if you cut it in half and one strand is thicker and one is thinner, doesn't matter because again, it bakes together and they end up being very pretty regardless. I've got my 2 strands. Yeah, I should have done that. Okay.
Your dough recipe is just so lovely to work with.
Yeah, I find it is, yeah. Okay, we keep twisting it. How's everybody doing?
2, 4, 7 done.
Oh, good. You know, and if you want to turn it in a few times, you can do that too. It depends, you know, how adept you are at doing it. You know, you can roll it.
And when you're rolling this dough, like whether you're making the challah or this, especially when you're making the challah, the long ones, when you start rolling it, it keeps wanting to contract. Am I doing something wrong?
No, it's because it's stretchy. It's it has elasticity in it.
Oh,
So
okay.
That's its
The nature. Okay.
yeah. I'm going to do another spiral here, but you can do as many, you know, if you want to do them all one way or, you know, alternate, it's up to you. And just shout out if you are forgetting what you need to do, because I'll give you a refresher. Okay, I'm going to do this just spiral. Tuck it under. Okay.
You could probably roll out one long one and then just split that in half, right?
You could. I find it feels better when I do it this way.
Ah,
But
okay.
I've done that and cut it, but I don't know. There's something about rolling it evenly each piece. I think it works better.
Okay.
I just to let you know, I didn't. You know, I was doing it backwards here, and my rolls were not really well spaced. So I just lift them up gently. You don't want to do that too many times, but you can do that if you know, if you need to. If you need to move them a little bit, just be very gentle with it. I have 2 more to go. I'm going to make another double. strand. And I really thank all of you for taking so much time today, because really to do this right, I think this is the way you have to do it. You know, if we had just given you dough, you really
Yeah.
feel for the beginning to end.
Well, thank you for taking all this time to be with us.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Actually, this is good on Zoom, because how would we have done? We would have spent the day at the shul.
That's right. That's true. The only, you know, positive thing when you're together, you can have people walking around and physically helping people, you know, which we couldn't
Yeah.
do.
But now you all know that you can do this in your kitchen.
I was just gonna say, and we're all so intellectually, you know, laden women that we can handle this.
That's right. And, you know, we will send a final email after, and I would like for Judy to give all of you my email and my phone number, and you should really feel free to contact me at any time if you want to, you need a refresher, you know, you're having a problem, you can always call.
Thank you. Okay, my 9 are done.
Okay, so now it's 1:30, let's say 1:30. So we're gonna do this about 10 after 2. So the ones who have the 2 challahs, you're gonna put yours, we're gonna do.
Wait, you broke up. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, so for those who are doing the challahs that were already ready to go at 10 to 2, we're gonna come back at 10 to 2, and you're gonna do your egg wash, and we'll show you how to do that, and you'll put your challahs in. For the people.
So the 2 challahs that started originally, I timed it when we finished.
Yes.
There's only 8.5 minutes for just under 9 minutes for those.
Oh, I was timing, I got 14 minutes.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Because people were doing it, you know, slightly different times, they were finishing at slightly different times. If it rises an extra few minutes, it's not gonna hurt it.
Okay.
And, you know, and similarly, if we say, you know, 10 to 2, and we end up doing it at 1:45, it's gonna be okay. So
Okay.
the difference here. So yours was done.
So somewhere around 45 minutes is the timing.
Yes.
Okay.
Just so people know, I've had times where I make my dough and I leave it sitting and I go and do a couple of errands and I'm, you know, 5-10 minutes late coming home, or 15 minutes. Nothing will happen. You just don't want to have it go, you know.
45 minutes.
This is the next step.
So
I didn't hear what you said. You just don't want to let it go. What? The audio broke up.
you don't want it to go for like an extra hour or an extra half. You can help it. Because if it rises too long, it can drop.
I just told Alexa to tell us when it's 45 minutes for our rolls.
Okay. Well, you know, I think we're doing it more like 40 minutes. Because
Oh, okay.
we've had the dough out a long time, so it is rising. So I just don't want it to go too long. That's why I said about 10 after 2 should be enough.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's for the rolls.
Yes, for the rolls. And for the challahs, yes.
The challahs are like at 10:02.
Linda, did you have a question?
You had mentioned the possibility, like if you came home late and within a reasonable time. I've also wondered if you made the dough and let it rise. Could you ever freeze this and then do it like at another time?
I have never frozen the dough. Wait, I'm just gonna dump this out. I'll be right back. Hold
Can
on.
Ruth, can I answer this?
Yes.
I have tried it. It doesn't work well.
Okay. Okay.
But I can tell you what does work. If you want to make your dough a day ahead,
Uh-huh.
like let's say, gee, I have to look this up. Because I taught a class with a friend years ago. And what we did is she made the dough like the day before. I think it was like late in the afternoon, but I'm gonna have to double check for all of you. I'll get you the answer once I have it. But I think she did it in the afternoon. She came back to the synagogue in the evening. She made the dough and put it in the refrigerator. She came back to the synagogue in the evening. She punched it down and kneaded it and put it back in the refrigerator covered again. And then in the morning, she came back, she took it out of the refrigerator and punched it down, I think again, and kneaded it and put it in the bowls and let it rise for when we had our class. So it's a little bit more time consuming, you know, in that you're doing it the day before. You do have to punch it down one time when it's in the refrigerator, I'm sure of that.
Can I tell you, I also used a different flour. There's a Michigan mill where they make their own flours, and it's out near Flint. And so I've got their unbleached bread flour that's freshly milled. Their flours are delicious. If anybody ever, it's at their site. It's called West Wind, and they will deliver, but it's better if you drive out there. They have pastry flours, they have bread flours, they have all kinds of flour that they mill.
Where did you say they're located again, Ellen?
It's near Flint. It's near Flint, but it's worth it. Their flours are phenomenal. And if we had a group of people who wanted to get their freshly milled flours, it's really delicious flour, and it does taste different.
Well, that's what I would say. That would be a good field trip.
Yeah.
Have you ever made it with whole wheat or no?
Me?
Have you ever made this hollow everything instead of a bread flour using a whole grain flour or no?
Yes, I have. I made it with someone who was she wasn't gluten-free, she was wheat-free. So I did it's like red wheat flour or something. I forget what it's called now. But it's like a wheat flour, but it was something she could tolerate. So it's whole wheat flour. Is it whole wheat?
Maybe. I put in the West Wind Milling website on the chat. So while your Zoom is open, if you click on it, another window will open if you're on a PC. I'm not sure what happens when you're on an iPad.
And plus, we support Michigan. We support Michigan-made products.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us about it.
Sure.
But the whole wheat flour, I will tell you, it tastes different.
Oh, it does. Okay, that's what I wondered.
As I said, I made it for someone because she couldn't have the white flour, and
I made Ruth's recipe with whole wheat.
Yeah.
It worked the same way. It just didn't taste as good.
Did not taste it. Okay.
I liked it. My kids didn't.
Kids did. Mm-hmm. It had like a.
Hey guys, watch this. I was like, go around and back.
This is where my brother lives.
Oh, where West Wind is?
Yeah, my brother lives right there.
Oh, that's so funny. Maybe he can make a delivery.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him to go get some and bring it down.
Great. I mean, I have not gotten their pastry flour yet because they were out of it. But during the pandemic, that's the flour I used.
Now, if
You can
any,
make a deal with your brother. He gets the flour and you get the challah. He gets the challah for bringing the flour.
There you go.
now, if any of you wants to practice your braiding, this Debbie Supplewit idea, you take your 4 towels and just roll them up, roll them into a nice little snake like this, and put rubber bands at either end. And then you can put it on your counter and practice during the week so you don't forget.
I want to learn the 6 and 8 ones and the round ones. That's what I want to learn. And you're really good at demonstrating.
Thank you. I'll tell you when I lived in Indiana, our synagogue didn't have an in-house caterer. People, if they had a bar mitzvah, they had an event, a wedding, they would have a caterer come in. But we had a beautiful kitchen, and the Sisterhood would be responsible for the kiddishes, so we baked everything. I learned so much from them. And one of the women decided, to make challah one day, and she said, anyone interested? Of course we were. So we made the challah, and then we said, we could do this every week, and it could be a Sisterhood fundraiser, and people coming to the synagogue will just buy a challah. So each week we would sell out. And one day I turned to her and I said, you don't have a kosher bakery in town. Why don't we make round challahs for Rosh Hashanah? So she said, okay, how many do you think we could sell? And she said, let's do 50. Well, we had a waiting list that first year. When I left, we were selling 350 challahs.
Oh my.
We were doing plain and raisin.
Jody, can you spotlight me so I can show one of my famous challahs? I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you can't see it on my phone.
No, wait, but if you email it to me, I can share it on my screen.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yep,
If you're
I'll show
making
it.
raisin challah,
It's the teddy bear.
What?
If you make
Jody,
raisin,
Jody, what's your text?
Oh, no, email it to me at jgross@shalom.
if you're making raisin challah, when do you put the raisins in?
The raisins go in when you're about 75 to 80% with kneading the dough. The first time you knead the dough, when you're making the dough, I take a cup of raisins and I just dump it on my counter before I knead the dough. And I sprinkle a little flour on it and mix that up. And that helps it to adhere to the dough. And then what I do is I'm kneading my dough, and when I get just towards the end, believe it or not, I take a handful of raisins and I squish it in, and I, cover it up and I knead it. I take another handful, push it in, just knead it some more, take the rest, put it in, and eventually they all get pretty evenly distributed. So you're just kneading it a few times with the raisins. Then you take it, put it in your bowl, roll it around and grease it like you would the regular dough, cover it up, and you have a raisin challah.
I have a question. I have I have roasted sesame seeds. Will they burn?
Sue Lux is laughing because she said she had toasted sesame seeds.
Oh, and I have roasted ones. Okay.
I would recommend probably not. Yeah, they might burn.
Okay.
Sue Lutz lives across the street from me, so she came over and I gave her some regular sesame seeds. She's holding it up.
These are all the way from Israel, but I feel like I should use them.
Well, you know what you could do? What about if you were to knead them into the dough?
Oh, too late, but that would have been a good idea.
What about at the end? Like, could you open up the oven and
they won't stick?
I put another egg wash or something?
They won't.
But
No, you don't.
Cinnamon on the raisins when you're doing the raisin one that way, or no?
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed
Well, you know
that.
how you said you take the raisins and you sprinkle a little bit of flour and then you knead it in? Can you take the raisins and sprinkle a little cinnamon and then knead it in?
I mean, you could, when you're doing the kneading process. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But we were talking about putting these seeds on top. You could add a little egg wash.
Oh my goodness.
There's the bear.
Oh,
Oh, how cute.
that is adorable.
So
Thank you.
once you know how to work with
Where's
this,
your rainbow one, Debbie? Where's one of your
Oh.
rainbows?
Oh, yeah, let me show you the rainbows. I gotta find the picture.
What is that, sprinkles on top?
Of course. My grandkids cannot have a challah without sprinkles.
They don't burn?
No.
That is so cute.
I'm thinking that you probably could do the same thing with cinnamon and sugar and put the cinnamon sugar on top with the egg white. Could you, Ruth?
so that's what I was saying. Honestly, it doesn't work as well if you put it on top. It doesn't have the same taste and the same finish.
You know what? Black sesame seeds. Black sesame seeds are delicious. And it says substitute for nuts in your favorite breads and pie crusts. Oh, I might try that.
Yeah, you could really do anything. Once you put on the egg wash, I like to do both sesame and poppy seeds. Particularly if you have a misshapen challah, it's not as pretty. When you put on the seeds, it kind of cleans it up.
Well, that's our timer. That's our timer for the 45 minutes.
So, oh, I forgot to take my egg out. And you know what else I forgot to do? We're so busy talking.
You didn't heat your oven.
I forgot to preheat my oven. I'm so busy doing these other things here. Okay.
I will tell you, the best salmon recipe we make is with Dijon mustard and black sesame seeds, and you bake it, and my kids love it.
I can't believe I didn't preheat my oven. Did everybody preheat their ovens? I think you're all such good students that you probably followed the instructions and I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so to make your egg wash, very simple, just crack your egg in your bowl. And the next thing you're going to do is add a little bit of water. What I recommend, I add a little cold water. Turn it on to like the thinnest strand of water that you can so you have more control. And just put it under and pull it out. And you just need a little bit of water. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but.
Why add water?
It's just a little bit. And then you're going to mix that together, just beat it a little bit. I think, there are some people who just take the egg yolk and add a little water. You can do that. The person I learned from, she said, why should we waste the rest of the egg? But, in the end, you're going to dump some out anyway. But I've always just done the whole egg. And you add the water because I think if you just use the egg beaten, I think it tends to burn. I think the water that's why I think it slides on easy. I don't know. Okay, once you have your egg wash ready, I'm a little panicked here because I didn't preheat my oven. So I've got to stretch this out a little bit. Okay, bring over your challahs. I would take, if you have 2 pans, just bring 1 pan over first.
Does this go on the bottom rack?
It doesn't matter if I rotate mine every 10 minutes.
But if we're just doing these two challahs, waiting for the rolls next time, do we leave, no, we're not rotating, are we? We're not,
Well, what I would say is for the first pass, put it on the bottom, and then in 10 minutes, change it and put it on the top right.
oh, okay.
And then when you put your rolls in, you might want to shift it again. You'll take a look and see how.
Yeah, these will be done by the time our rolls are ready, won't they?
They might, I mean, I do, okay, now, I'll talk about the timing when they're in the oven. Okay, so I want you to dip your pastry brush into your egg wash, and then I go down the center, just up and down, give it a nice coating, and you want to make sure your entire challah is covered. So you don't want to press real hard, you want to just kind of be light and gentle, because you don't want to flatten your challah, but you do want to make sure you get I like to get everything. So just make sure you get the bottom, not the bottom, but you know what I mean, the very bottom of the side. So everything, and you can go over it a couple of times, and then take your brush, dip it in, and get your second challah painted, brushed. And you can take, the tip of your bristles and kind of go across, if you have like where it crisscrosses, make sure you get all the places. Okay, once you have that done, if you want to put seeds on your challah, you can take your sesame seeds or your poppy seeds or whatever kind you like. And what I do is I pour it in my hand, and then I take my other hand and grab a bunch of them and just gently sprinkle them around like this. They just kind of fall out of my fingers. Okay, did you see that?
Alexa, stop timer.
Because then you have control here. You can put on as many as you want. So just like twist your fingers a little bit and it will fall down very easily. So I'm going to do, my daughter likes sesame, she doesn't like color. I'm going to do that just with the sesame. And then I'll do sesame poppy on the other one. Now if you just have a few left in your hand, you can just kind of shake your hands side to side and let them fall. But the reason I use my fingers is because I have more control with a few fingers.
Hey, Ruth, you put the egg, sorry, I was on a call I had to take. You just put, how much water do you put in the eggs?
It's just what I would call a titch,
Oh, a titch, okay.
A little thin stream of water and just put that in the mouth.
Right.
Just a little bit. I'll tell you, the seeds are a mess.
I have a question. When you did the second rise and you took the challahs out, do you feel like the challah has like a little bit of a hardness on the top of it, or no? Like barely? It's not like mushy?
It may, because it may have dried a little bit.
So that means it dried even though I had it covered?
Okay, yes, the dough will dry just a little teeny bit.
Oh, okay, so that's to be expected.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
So
Another great topping for challahs is, well, my kids love and the grandkids love sprinkles, but if you go to Trader Joe's and get everything but the bagel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
What about hemp seeds? I wonder if you can put hemp seeds on it.
you
You can probably put anything.
Okay. Excuse me. If you have your challahs ready to go in the oven, then I want you to take them. If your oven is preheated, they have the beautiful egg wash with or without seeds, and you're going to put it right in your oven And I'm gonna put mine on the bottom for the first time. I like it when it browns on the top for the second. So I'm gonna set my timer here for 10 minutes. And
What's the total amount that they cook in total? 30 minutes or what?
yes, that, I did want to tell you that. Debbie and I think have a little difference here. I think, you know, if you like yours a little more doughy, wet and dry, last time. And if you want it doughy but a little drier, you're going to do it a little more time. So on these challahs, the small ones, I do 20 minutes.
Oh,
Debbie, how long do you, I actually about 22 minutes.
I do about 20 minutes on small ones. My large ones are usually, I check it at 25 and it usually takes 30.
Okay, so I was going to say my large ones I usually do about 30 minutes and the small one 22.
And what about the roll?
But I'm going to tell you how you're going to check to see if it's done. Okay, once you take it out of the oven, you want to check it. What I do, okay, the old-fashioned way that I was taught, pick up your challah, your hot challah, with an oven mitt or something, turn it upside down and tap on it. Like, you know, make it fist and tap. If it's not hollow, it's done. Well, I tried that. It's very hard and it's difficult to, you know, handle it like that, and they always sound the same. So what I do, I leave it on the pan, and I just touch the sides, you know, the little lips on the side. I just push a little. If it springs back, it's done. If it goes in and it doesn't come back out, it's not done. Okay, so again, you don't want to push real hard because if it isn't done and it gets indented, you don't want to have a big hook in the side of your challah. So just push it gently, just a little push, and if it springs back, it's done.
Ruth, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm doing the two big challahs and they're on two separate sheets. So what racks am I using?
Okay, so what I would do, because I would do it on two separate pans.
And that's what I did.
Put one on the top rack, one on the bottom rack.
Okay.
Not at the very top of your oven, excuse me.
Not at the very top?
No, what I'm saying is, let's say you have 4 slots for your rack. How many?
I have 3.
You have 3. Because you don't want it directly under the heat, but you want
So then I'll do them on the 2 bottom ones.
But you want to make sure that you have room for your dough to rise, because it will rise up a bit. Do you think?
I think.
If you take a look, eyeball your challah and look at your rack, do you think
It'll work?
Okay, so then that's what I would do.
All right, so 30 minutes, you think?
Yeah.
And maybe switch them halfway in between?
Yes, so I would set your timer for 15 minutes.
Okay.
15 minutes change, put the bottom one, and then rotate the other one to the top.
Okay.
Did you say
at 350, right?
Did you say earlier that the reason that it might be a dense challah is because you didn't add enough flour?
No, what I was saying about the I think that the bread flour is like a loaf, and I don't know if you were all on when we were talking about this during the break, but if you are making challah one day and you go, oh my God, I only have 4 cups of flour or 5 cups of the bread flour, don't panic. Use your regular challah and just add that in. It works. Okay. And you can play with this. You can try sometime to use.
I'll listen to this one.
And compare it. See how you like it.
Yeah. I've made a banana chocolate chip challah, and it's delicious, but it's very dense. And I just wonder if it's because of the flour. I heard somebody say earlier about the amount of flour making a difference in the density, and I wanted to just review what that was.
The bananas make it dense.
the
Yeah, I
bananas.
think I said that. Yeah, if it's sticky, it's gonna come out more dense.
That, yes, okay, thank you.
Ruth, how much
Can,
cooking time for the little rolls?
The little rolls I do about 15 minutes.
Ruth, can
How
you
long?
use,
Keep speaking.
well, she was answering someone else's question.
Go ahead.
Ruth, repeat the time again, please, for the small rolls. You got broken up.
15 minutes.
Thank you.
Ruth, can you use,
I just want to add to that. I would say check it after 15 and do the same thing. You just push from the side. And if it's, going in too far, you want to put it back in. I'll be honest with you, I haven't made rolls in so long. I did do it last week and I can't remember if it's 15 minutes or 18 minutes. I would check it after 15 and we'll figure it out today.
Do you find that when you smell something, it's done?
You can't tell that it's done.
Okay, okay.
Lori Isner has a question.
thanks, Jody. Hi, Ruth, can you use all-purpose flour or do you need to use bread flour?
Okay, so I was taught with bread flour.
Okay.
And that's what I was saying. I'm pretty sure you can do it with regular flour. My thinking is that it's probably even a lighter dough. I would recommend trying it with the regular flour, see if you like it. I've had times where I've run out of the bread flour and I had to add a cup or two of the regular flour and it tasted the same to me.
Thank you.
I
And also
only use
thank you to you and Debbie for doing this. This has been awesome and you're excellent teachers.
Thank you.
You can use the all-purpose flour. The reason is I use it because I didn't know what bread flour was when I started making challah. So I just started with the all-purpose.
And I just want to say thank you to Ruth Hurwitz also because she was available for a breakout room and we actually didn't use her this time, but we might in the future. So thank you again, Ruth.
I have a quick question. If I'm not able to put mine in the oven right now because I have to go pick my daughter up at school, can I put it in a half hour or so? Or do you have to put it in right now?
Well, that's the $60,000 question. I mean, if it were to sit an extra 10 minutes on your counter, it should be fine. A half hour is pushing it because then it might drop a little bit.
Then I'm going to throw it in now. Okay, thank you.
I would say do it a few minutes early rather than too late.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I have about another 2 minutes on my first batch, and I'm going to shift. Well, I guess it's still 2 minutes. It's still too early. So in another 2 minutes, I'm going to put mine to the top rack. And if you're doing your 2 challahs, if you're someone who's doing 2 challahs, this is so confusing today, but we wanted to give you choices. So if you're doing your 2 challahs, they should be in for another 5 minutes, would be 15 minutes. And then you're going to rotate the rack. Okay, so you have it on the bottom or the top.
So when you're rotating, are you rotating just what is on the rack or are you rotating the position of it in the oven?
You know what, sometimes because I have an old oven, sometimes I just take it, and put it in the same orientation. And sometimes I turn it sideways. If I think it's not browning enough, I'll just do that. But, I think we all have, if you have a new oven, it's probably not too quirky, but the older ones are not.
So I'm going to recommend that after your challah is done, that you take a picture of it.
Oh.
Even if you don't think it's as beautiful as you think it should be, but I guarantee it's going to taste delicious. And send it to Judy so that she can share it with Ruth and with Debbie and with Ruth to show them, the results of your hard work.
Right.
it's a big accomplishment when you're able to do this.
And if some of you are on at the end and you want to hold them up and show them, we'd like to see it that way too.
Do you put egg white?
Completely cooled, and you can put them, I like to wrap mine in a heavy duty foil, and I put it right in the freezer and they stay fresh. When I serve it for Shabbat, I usually pop it in a warm oven like 325 or 350 before we sit down. For about 3 or 4 minutes, I would say, put it in and check it. I put it right, if it's coming from the freezer, I let it sit on the counter pretty much all day in the wrapping. And then I pop it in the oven in the foil because I feel like it kind of refreshes it and makes it a little moister. But like tonight, I will take this off of the rack. I'll put it right on my oven rack in the middle of the oven because you don't want to burn the bottom, so you don't want it to go on the bottom rack. You put it in the middle of the oven, put it in your oven, check it after a few minutes. I've actually forgotten about it a couple of times, so it was in there for like 5 minutes. You know, it'll be fine, but you do want to keep an eye on it and then just feel it. And if it feels hot to touch, and if you like it crusty, then it's ready. And then you put it under your challah cover, and it's going to be fabulous, like you just baked it that minute.
Should we be putting our rolls in the oven now?
Yes, that's what I'm sorry, I thought you.
Okay. No, I got the egg wash on, but I wasn't sure when we were starting the bake.
You put the eggs on after the egg wash, correct?
Yes, you want to get your egg wash on and then put it in your oven, but here's where we have to note the time, okay? I have about 2 minutes left on my challahs, but this is going to take 15 minutes, so I'm going to, after about 7 or 8 minutes, I'm going to put it to the top. My rolls are on the bottom right now.
Set timer for 15 minutes.
Okay, is someone setting a timer? Thank you.
I just did. I started mine.
You know what, don't do it for 15, do it for, say, 7.
Oh, okay, I'll change it. Alexa, end the timer.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times when I make my challah,
I'm doing the timer for 7 minutes.
I'm sorry?
Alexa, set a timer for 7 minutes.
Ellen is talking to Alexa.
Okay, I just wanted to comment that sometimes when I'm making my challah, if I have a busy day, there's no shame in writing your times down, okay? So for my first rise, you want an hour and a half. So let's say we finished at 11 o'clock. I would take a piece of paper and just write 12:30 on my paper, and it's there. Because some of us also who are older might forget, oh my God, did I finish 11 or was it 11:30? Was it 10:45? You know, so if you write it down, then you're good to go, okay? And sometimes when I'm doing this kind of thing too, if I'm by myself and I have one timer, you know, I'll say, okay, bottom rack rolls, you know, whatever time, let's say 2:15, I'll write in at 2:15. So then I know, you know, oh, it's the other one that comes out, this one goes up. Okay, that's my timer for the challah, and that was 20 minutes. So again, I do it for about 22 minutes, but I'm gonna check it and I'm gonna gently push. I don't want to take it out and show this to you, but okay, sometimes it works best on the inner surface. I'm going to turn my camera and see if you can see this.
That's after 20 minutes?
Mine's not that done.
Ruth, you're muted. Ruth, you're muted.
Okay. Mine did spring back very nicely. I'm gonna let it go for 1 more minute, so it'll be like 21 minutes on that batch. If you were not as generous with your egg wash, yours might not brown as much. You have to be, do a generous egg wash. Okay, and it's not a problem. If you did it a little bit too light, next time you'll put more on. So I have to get my rack. Make sure you have your cooling rack ready wherever you're gonna put your challah or your rolls.
Sue, they're beautiful.
Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. Wow.
You're muted, Sue. When you take off your mittens, you can unmute.
Now, Sue, they look beautiful. Did you press a little bit and have it spring back? And I'm going to show you that because I'm taking mine out. Okay. So I have the 2 different styles here. Mine are going to look a little different, but where I pressed it in before, it's a little indented. You probably can't see it, but it is a little indented there. So it wasn't ready. And I find the outer side seems to bake more quickly. So I always test it on the inside, but they're springing. I think they're done. So 21, 22 minutes. Oh, now to take them off, you can, if you're using your parchment paper, you should be able to just put it on your cooling rack and slide your challah off. I think I should have done another minute, but I took it out. See, I do it for 22 minutes usually.
Won't it keep cooking while it's sitting on the rack?
Not really.
Okay.
It's done cooking.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can you over bake them?
Yes, you can.
I mean, what happens if you over bake? I mean, what happens to it?
I can tell you, if you over bake it, when you cut it, it's going to be more like day-old bread. It'll be a little drier. You know how bread is kind of dry?
Yeah.
And look at this cleanup. See, I just threw out my paper, and now I'm going to dump out the seeds in my sink, and my pan is pretty clean. So that's why I like using the parchment. Now someone is timing the rolls, right? And the people who were doing the large challahs, did you do it for 15 minutes and then rotate to the upper shelf?
Well, I just do mine on one pan, so I leave it in the middle.
You just leave it in the middle?
Yep.
Okay.
I did mine.
It was almost ready. It needed another 5 minutes.
Here are 2 of my small ones.
Ooh, let's see.
Karen, hold it again. I'm going to spotlight so you can see it better.
I can't see it. Can you hold it up a little higher?
Lovely.
Wait a minute.
Very nice.
I can't.
Very nice.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Very nice, Sharon.
Wait.
Thank you.
Jody, can you spotlight each of these because it's hard to
Yep,
see?
and I just spotlighted Sharon. I'll take you off the spotlight.
Amy,
Okay,
you're
Sharon, show again.
Those are 2 of the small
Beautiful.
ones. I've got the other ones in for another couple minutes.
Okay, who else wanted to share?
Amy. Show
Amy, hold on, let me get to you. Oh, they're beautiful.
Wait a minute.
Amy spotlight now. Amy, go to, whoa.
Oh, there we go. Oh, they're
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Really?
Nice job, Amy.
Let's see, where is he?
Really?
Okay, and Rana, you want to hold yours up? Oh,
I'll take you off in a second, Amy. Hold on.
Wow.
Wait, hold on,
gorgeous.
I gotta find Rana, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Rana, hold it up.
Gorgeous.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
Amazing.
Now
Okay,
you
who was next?
want-
I saw Beryl. Ah, there's Beryl. Check this out, everybody.
Oh, beautiful.
Are we still doing beautiful?
beautiful, Daryl.
Those are gorgeous.
So good.
Beryl, what's on top of what's on top of that? Those poppy
It's
seeds?
it's the Trader Joe everything bagel.
Cool.
Beautiful. Now, excuse me 1 minute. Who was timing the rolls?
Oh, Alex, those look great.
I'm
Wow,
timing
look how
them.
beautiful. Go, Alex.
Move the rolls yet?
The rolls just went off.
Okay.
7 minutes of the rolls went off.
Okay, so if you have rolls and you had it on your bottom shelf,
Round 6?
your
Dude, show us yours, Rolander.
Okay, that's around.
oh, ew, they're beautiful.
So what Sue has demonstrated is that with Debbie's help and expertise, even though if your yeast has a little bit of a hiccup, there is still a way to make it work and end up having beautiful chalot. Good job,
I made
Sue.
3.
Can I ask why
Braid.
mine are very light? Is that because I didn't put enough egg wash?
Mine too.
Okay.
Show us the ones that are light in color.
Here's mine. They're
What?
light.
They're very light. I wonder if it's the flour.
Can you show us again?
They're my
Yeah.
2 small ones. Oh,
Right now.
Oh, those are beautiful. It could be the flour, it may be that you didn't put enough egg wash. The other thing is if you put too much water in your egg wash, that can also make a lighter color. So just a few drops of water in your egg wash.
Mine are also light.
Did anybody else want to share?
Less than half a shell. I put half a shell of water.
I have to tell you why I'm really felling because they're Did somebody
Anybody else want to share whose theirs came out of the oven already?
here's
This is my second one.
2 small ones.
Mine also
Okay.
came out light.
Wait, Rhonda, put it back up.
This is my second one.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Alexa, stop timer.
Great teacher. Thank
Here's
you.
my 2 small ones.
Now, excuse me, did someone reset the timer for the rolls for the second?
I did.
Oh, Sue, they're beautiful. Sue Lutz, they're beautiful. Everyone should be really proud of themselves. These are amazing.
You know what, I didn't think they were brown enough, so I put them back in for another minute
Okay.
on top. They're probably over done.
Hold your fellows up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hold your fellows up.
Okay, Jody, I can hold mine up. They're done.
Okay.
So they're gonna fall off.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Very
They're
good.
falling off.
Beautiful.
Will it make the pots darker, you have to use less water, or what's the key? Mine are also light.
Beautiful.
Okay, I want to, and I'm going to show you mine, if you can see that they're two different styles.
Excuse me, Ruth, do you hear the question about the egg whites?
No, I apologize.
Can someone repeat the question, please? I didn't see who asked.
Yeah, if mine come out light, does that mean I put too much water in the egg white or what?
There's two possibilities. One has too much water, and the other possibility is maybe you just didn't brush enough on.
Okay.
I would say next time, just a few drops of water, and make sure you really paint it on nicely. And you can, as I said, go back over the areas. Doesn't matter, you can go over them and, you know, do it for a few minutes. It's fine. And my challahs, I have two different styles here. You're gonna see, I don't know, can you see that okay?
No. Oh, now, yeah.
So there we go. So this is the 4 braid that I'm not used to doing. This was the the one that everybody did, and this is the one that I usually do. And if you look from the side, I mean, these tend,
Oh, I see.
like these bumps on the side and on the top, whereas this is all more stripy, you see? And then this one is taller. You can't really tell from the camera, but this is actually, it's a higher.
You can see the difference.
Yeah, okay. All right, so